Hey YouTube, Jam here. Welcome back to the gaming station. So, this subject I've been wanting to cover for a little over a week now, but with the balance changes, Hot Zone being re-added to the game, and some real life stuff taking up my time, I haven't been able to get down to this video. But now, I got a chance to get this video done. So, while I was scrolling through Reddit, this post caught my eye. It had a very simple topic, but I felt like it would be good to cover on the channel because, as the original poster points out, these mistakes can be made all the time. So the original poster, MJ Yellow, posted about wall breaking mistakes they see being made all the time. They point out that wall breaking is a simple mechanic that can change the flow of a match, and while it's very simple to understand, there are some mistakes that get made a lot and can change matches and make them more difficult to win or even cause a team to lose. So in today's video, I'm going to go through MJ's 4 points, break them down as he made them, and attempt to add where I can. Also, I'll put a link down in the description to the post if you want to go check that out yourself. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so MJ's first mistake that he points out is not breaking walls at all. He basically says that if you have a wall breaking mechanic, it's your job to remove the walls on your opponent's side of the map. This removes the cover for your enemies to hide behind and forces them to play in the open. So I would say this applies to brawlers like Brock, Colt, and Piper. These are all brawlers that benefit from enemies being caught out in open space, so they can shoot them freely while keeping their distance. On the other hand, this can hurt tank brawlers like Primo and Bull, and brawlers that like to hide behind walls like Throwers and Shelly. These brawlers benefit from having more cover when moving up the map and staying out of open space. So for the first point, I would say how much you want to open your opponent's side of the map really depends on the team comp you're running and what mode you're playing. If you have a tank and a thrower, you probably should try to keep the map intact as much as possible, as to not remove the cover they need to hide behind and help limit how much space they're going to be in when moving up the map. But in a game mode like Siege and Bounty, it can be extremely beneficial if your opponents have nothing to hide behind when they need to heal, or have a difficulty moving back up to the middle of the map because it's way too open. The next big mistake MJ points out is destroying your own walls. He really doesn't say much about why it's a mistake in the post. The main reason why is because it's probably just repeating the opposite of what he said about destroying the opponent's walls. Basically, when you destroy your walls, you're removing your team's cover and making yourself play in the open. I will add that removing your walls in front of your goal and brawl ball makes it easier to be scored on, and the walls in front of your safe and heist make it easier for your opponents to chip your safe. Try avoid destroying these walls at all costs. Okay, so we're already on to MJ's third point, which is destroying walls when your enemy is pushed up on your side. He gives an example when you're playing Brawl Ball and your Colt is pushed up on the enemy side using his super to destroy walls, while the enemy is down on your side trying to score a goal. In my opinion, this really sounds more like a game sense and positioning mistake to me. You should be aware of what's going on during a match and where you should be at that time. When you're up breaking walls while your team is in a fight, you're probably out of position, and you're going to have to make your team work a lot harder to keep you in the game. Of course, that's something that players learn over time, and they get better at gradually. Okay, and we're on to MJ's last mistake that he sees. This mistake is when players use low-value supers to break walls. Basically what this boils down to is when a player gets their super and uses it just to break a wall, and they don't hit a target with it at the same time. Okay, for me, it's okay for some brawlers to do this if they can get their super pretty easily and pop off multiple supers per game. Frank, Shelly, and Dynamite are the first ones that come to mind when I mention this. They should, of course, always try to get a little value out of their supers, but they shouldn't be shy about using them either. They should break the walls as they need to, as their supers are pretty easy to charge and they'll get them back soon enough. However, for brawlers like Colt and Brock, where it's a lot harder to land your shots to charge your super, you should always try to maximize your super by catching enemies in it when trying to break a wall. This takes out the wall, damages the opponent, and recharges your super, all in the same process. So, that covers MJ's 4 points. I will say most of these are pretty spot on. Always make sure you're destroying your opponent's walls if it benefits your team, and also avoid destroying your walls whenever possible. I would say that point 3 is the most important one to follow, as it has more to do with positioning and game awareness, and these mistakes can be costly when made too often. The fourth point I would say is the most flexible, and it really depends on which brawler you're playing, like I said. Don't be shy about breaking walls with your super if it charges quickly, but this doesn't mean you shouldn't try to get more value whenever possible. And on the flip side, if you have a hard to charge super, make sure you get as much value as possible whenever you're trying to break walls with it. So while wall breaking is a simple trait to master, it's easy to forget about the little things when you're in the middle of a match. Try to keep this stuff in mind while you're playing. I would like to thank MJ for posting this and letting me go over it in this video. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, as it's a little different for me. If you did, leave a like on it, and if you have anything to add, drop that down in the comments as well. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.